Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
We're going to start off today by reading a prepared statement that I have made. My name is Twos, and I would like to tell you, completely not under duress or threat of violence, that I am very sorry to all of the gingers, ginger kinds, and people with gingivitis. It came to my attention recently that there were some of you who were upset by my comments regarding gingerdom as a whole. And under no duress of mine am I making this statement that I'm very sorry, and you guys do have souls and are actually people. Thank you.
They showed up on your doorstep, did they?
The Ginger Cartel. GC.
The GC. Mashup 159 coming in hot, folks. How's everybody doing today? How's Tuesday?
Tuesday's good. Tuesday could use a nap, but you know, he's got this mashup thing to do, so he's gonna put that off for, I don't know, another 20 years. How's Sean?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I was telling you before we started, got to go look at the new studio last night, and yeah, I'm just excited about it. I was gonna put it out today on to my BC or to our BC audience. I'm looking for a round table but I just got off the phone. That's what I was on the phone for. Is I'm talking to a guy out in the interior of BC, talking about getting a round slab of wood for a table, because I have this idea. I've wanted it since I got this table. This table has been amazing. I got nothing to say bad about this table. It's fantastic. Everybody walks in, looks in, and oh, that's amazing.
But you want to have a round table for the round tables.
Correct. I want a round table. And I've thought it for a long time, and I just, you got a beautiful table. Why change it out? It's been very beneficial, but with the new studio coming together, I'm like, I want it. This is what I want. And so I've been tracking it down. I was going to put it out to the BC audience, and I think I've got a really good lead. Shout out to Jasper. He was, and Dale Wilker, for that matter, former podcast guest, for just, put me in contact with some different folks. We'll see where it leads. Maybe it comes up with nothing, or maybe it, I reached out to Glenn as well. And, I've reached out to a bunch of different people in hopes that I could find something that makes sense. And so I think I got something here this morning. So I'm having a great Friday, honestly.
Nice.
So exciting times.
It's nice when things come together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's, I didn't start there. What am I going to do? Have this table sit for 6 months or a year while I wait? No, it's kind of one of those.
It makes sense that you have, I mean, when you're doing any project, you don't worry about the trim until everything else is in, right?
That's right.
Furniture is one of the last things to go in.
That's right. So things are coming together. I'm excited about it. I had a guy stop in yesterday, and he was shocked to hear that it was no ginger scissor on the smoke.
Actually, there's this thing that says show comments on stage. I don't know what it looks like, but yeah, if somebody wants to comment, I don't know how it's going to look, but there's something in beta that we're going to push a button on. But so somebody had dropped by.
It stopped in, and they'd been listening to us, I guess, a week ago, and or sometime in the podcast, and I just brought up, it's looking like, I'm going to be, there's a chance we get to do a first podcast in I was hoping late May, but it's looking like June. I'm hoping to have a brothers roundtable before the playoffs ends in it, and we'll see. The table won't be there probably until after summer, but it's just picking away at things. So that's exciting times on this side. I can gush about that all day, but we got Mashup 159 ready to roll.
We've got to mash it all up.
Yeah. Oh, what is going on? So it shows up on the side. I get what it's doing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's going to populate on the side. There you go.
Oh,
So they're going to be real
that's
small, but
interesting.
yeah. Well, new features here on the Mashup 159. We're always trying new things to try and spice it up for you.
Well,
Happy
it's
Airborne
a new feature.
Happy Airborne Friday to all of our fine folks.
Up the Johns.
Yeah, lots of people talking about the Saskatchewan Bush Party that Jamie Sinclair threw out after the Cornerstone Forum. There's been lots of comments on
Sorry,
that.
what?
In the hotel, he
Yeah.
got a hospitality room, and he
Okay.
called it the Saskatchewan Bush Party. And
Nice.
so they had some fun there, I guess. And it's obviously created quite a stir in the best possible way, Jamie. People were talking about it and continue to talk to me about it. So obviously some fun was had.
Well, that is excellent. It's
Now,
a shame I couldn't stick around for it. But
if you like the show, this is your time before we get started to please hit the share button and let's push it out here. Like, share, wear your Gunslinger Mashup shirt proudly. I'm going to space on the name, but there's a guy who's buying 5 kids shirts because
nice.
they all get together and he wants to, always put on the same outfit. So they're getting some Gunslinger shirts. You know, it's funny. I wore this out last night. APP had an event in Lloyd and I saw Gunslinger shirts in there. I'm like,
nice.
This is awesome.
Well, I mean, you got to be careful. Like I remember when I did that first run of 222-minute shirts, the one guy, David got one of his kids a shirt, and then that kid got in hell at school because it just says 222 minutes. And they're like, you can't wear that in here. So
you can't wear the Gunslinger in here. That's not
you
allowed.
probably can't wear the Gunslinger either. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know.
So there's that.
I mean, the women don't seem to like it. That's a lie because it was
Maybe
one of the
it's
women.
you.
No, but I've had so many.
Sure it's you.
It might be me. Mel didn't like it. She's like, nobody's gonna wear that. And now she's been like, okay, they're wearing it, and it's everywhere, and it's awesome. So
Was
there
she
you
at
go.
that thing with you last night?
No, she wasn't. She was. Yeah, she wasn't there last night. But
because that would have been even better. Because you would have been like, hey, honey, see that over there?
Yeah, I should have taken a picture of it and sent it to her.
You should have just got everybody who had Mashup shirts together for a picture.
For a nice team picture. That's right. Okay.
They're this year's vote for Pedro shirt.
Yes. Okay. Let's start with the Coot 6.5, shall we?
Yeah. Well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this week, notorious sex offender Randall Hopley has been rearrested shortly after he was obtained statutory release from prison. Hopley was released on Thursday morning from Mission Institution and was directed to reside at a halfway house in Vancouver. Police said he refused direction of the parole officer and left the halfway house. A Canada-wide warrant was issued, and Hopley was arrested by Vancouver police on Thursday afternoon. He's known for abducting a 3-year-old boy back from a southeastern home back in 2011, and it continues to go on twos. And then the axe attacker from last week that we talked at the hatchet to the head, they interviewed the guy.
Read the headline.
So I immigrated an axe murderer. Here's the guy who got hit. He said, I think I glanced at my phone for a second, and the next thing I knew, I saw this man's face up here, but I was falling back, and he had, I think, what they call body slam me, he explained. From the ground, John said he could see the man walking away as if nothing had happened. The assailant did not even try to take his phone or credit card, he added.
Yeah, dude's a little bit crazy, but I mean, it's funny. Like we were talking about it last week, and then this article goes on at length about his very lengthy criminal history.
Yeah. So, I mean,
and for those of you out there saying wood chipper, just hold on. We got some real wood chippers to go over this week. But anyway, the other thing is
he's just laughing to himself. Just laughing.
No, we're gonna get to it in the community notes. I'll bring it up in the community notes. So Coots Boys denied parole. It may not have been in when you started the thing, but yeah, Coots Boys denied parole. So Yeah, they while have been model jail citizens, the board doubts their repentance. They feel like
Doubts.
they feel as though while incarceration may have deterred have had while incarceration may have a deterring effect on you and cause you to do things differently in the future, the board is not convinced that this is the result of any true accountability, insight, or understanding of your offense cycle or harm inflicted. So they don't think they're repentant enough.
Okay.
And
Well,
so that's it. Now, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that if you're going to give parole to somebody who gets arrested a few hours later, you may want to reassess how you do things. And if that's the benchmark, I feel like that person, that guy who went back to jail an hour or two after being released, if we're letting them go, why can we not let these people go? And we all know the answers because they're political prisoners.
yeah, thank you. You took the words out of my head.
All right. So, anyways, that's that.
You got a headline for me for Canada Post, or am I just rolling today?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I do have one. I don't have a lot of headlines, but I've got a few.
The doors are locked. You know what? I've missed these headlines. We had a string of these headlines a while back. The doors are locked. The packages undelivered. Money hemorrhages from every mailbox. Reflective vest and neck covering hat. And that was before the strike.
Yes. By the way, it took me a couple tries to get hemorrhaging right. And just as a default, you should just not trust anybody who can do it off the top of their head.
In a statement Thursday night, CUPW said its members are being called on to refuse overtime work starting at midnight local time across the country. The news comes as the union was in position to legally strike as of midnight. CUPW has previously asked for a wage increase of 19% over 4 years, while Canada Post proposed 13.59% over 4 years. The corporation has posted more than a $3 billion in losses since 2018. In January, it received 1.3 billion or 1.03 billion federal loan to stay afloat this year, and has warned it will need at least another 1 billion annually starting in 2026 to remain viable.
Yes. Now, this is really interesting. The union has a lot of demands, which is an interesting thing to do for a company that's losing money hand over fist. Like, we are broke as fuck. Cool. We need you to make things better for us. Like, this is the whole blood from a stone. And as Sean says up here, you've got Canada Post and CUPW disagree over 5 minutes paid time to wash hands before breaks. Union says hand washing is a small but significant part of ensuring a safe, healthy, and respectful workplace for all postal workers. I worked rigs for a very long time. And I don't think there's a whole lot of times where I spent more than 5 minutes washing my hands.
You didn't get 5 minutes to wash your hands?
No. But like end of the day where you are just like, you're black from the elbows down, just schmag everywhere. You just cover yourself and go, Joe, a couple rags later, and you are good to go. We'd stop for breaks, and you'd just be like eating a sandwich with your greasy, black, tarred up hands. And
Can you imagine requesting 5 minutes to go wash your hands on the rigs? If you've never been out to a rig, I could just imagine the tongue lashing that would come from such a thing.
I just imagine all of this stuff. So here's a list of the things they want. They want a 19% wage increase over 4 years, 10 paid medical leave on top of 7 personal days. So vacation aside, this isn't vacation. Aside from their vacation days, they want to have 17 days on top of that. Okay? They want fertility treatment benefit. They want gender affirming care benefit. They want to get boob jobs. Paid meals for shifts 5 hours or more. anytime you work 5 or more hours in a day, it's such a strenuous thing for these unionized employees that they should have a paid meal. Limit surveillance for productivity. We don't want the managers making sure that we're doing our jobs. Here's the thing is, okay, I'm going to come back to that. 88% wages if injured at work, which I imagine probably happens all the damn time. Vision care benefit. How do they not have that already? Increased health specialist benefit, protection against technology. So if something new comes out that is going to make the Canadian Postal Service irrelevant, they have protections against their job. So if somebody invents something, like, I don't know, I just picture some random thing, and for lack of a better word, we'll call it email. If someone invents email, they're still guaranteed to have a job when nobody delivers fucking letters anymore. They want no contracting workouts, snow tires for rural mail carriers. That one actually I would say is fairly reasonable. 8-hour routes, benefits for temporary employees. That's the whole point of being temporary. Eliminate separate sort from delivery. Okay, so here's the thing. You go through all this stuff. They just want to be mollycoddled. They just want all kinds of free shit. They don't realize that their boss is broke. If this was any other country, there would have been, or any other company, there would have been mass layoffs years ago. They would have brought in some Japanese guy named Fukushima Kunichiwa, who would have brought in all kinds of Kaizen shit to actually make this run tight and lean, because it's the only way the doors would have stayed open. But because it's this government fucking quasi entity, they're allowed to just lose $1 billion in a year. Okay. These are the people. This is why you have surveillance for productivity. Okay. If you have good employees who don't milk things and want 5 minutes paid hand washing before every break, you don't have to look over their shoulder all the time. You could just go to them and say, Sean, this needs to get done. Have a good one. And that's it. That's all you need to do. But if these are the kind of people that you employ, you have to have, on the other side of the coin, a little bit of surveillance for productivity, because obviously they're fucking useless.
All right. I got nothing to add.
Okay. All right. Well, it was a good run. Also, we got somebody from Alaska saying hi.
Hi, Alaska. Hello, David from Alaska.
All right. And Diana says it's not the workers asking for it, it's the union. If the workers were smarter about this, they'd realize that the union is going to get them all out of jobs. The unions, they never learned from COVID. If there was one really important lesson that Chinese laboratory virus taught us, well, two. One, ivermectin is not just horse paste. But the second one, the most important one, the applicable one here, is that all the best parasites don't kill their hosts. Okay? You can't continue to be a parasite on a corpse. The body, the host, has to stay living. And right now, the union is trying to kill the host. And the only way that the unions of the world are going to evolve is if the worst ones die off, and they're going to die off by killing the hosts.
They got the liberal government in too. They're going to get paid. They're going to find a way to keep this going. So I wouldn't hold my breath on the union killing it just yet.
Fair enough.
Rapid fire news. Okay, you got Justin Trudeau to collect 2 pensions, $104K in severance as well. Former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, recent departure from politics will net him over $8 million across 2 pensions, plus a large severance check. This is over a series of years. They added it up. His MP pension entitling him an annual payout of $141,000 per year when he turns 55 in 2 years, and an additional $73,000 annually upon turning 67. So,
yep. Now, I mean, this is insane. Like, that's a lot of money keep in mind that he became an MP in 2012. So he worked 14 years, and over those 14 years, he gets like $8 million ballpark worth of payment after he's not working, plus the probably $6 million he made while prime minister. So for those 14 years, we're paying him $14 million.
Yeah, we're going to be paying the cost of Trudeau for a long time. Yep.
Oh, that's not even counting the cost of Trudeau for a long time.
Correct.
This is the thing. It's interesting. A gentle reminder that the reason we have generous pension and severance allowances for former prime ministers is to reduce the risk that they will be improperly influenced by their personal/private interests while in office. This is a guy named Sasha Forstner, Ukraine flag. And if we look at him, he looks like a ginger and a baby.
You're waiting to tie the gingers back into this, were you? I don't know who set twos off on the old gingers this week, but
is this baby ginger? He looks like a toddler with a beard. But
okay,
I mean, to be fair, they all do. But here's the thing. No. I'm not done. I didn't get to make my point here yet.
Really? Well, okay. Enlighten us, Twos. Enlighten us.
So, all right, if you want to make the argument that the severance package and the generous payment while they're in office and the generous pension are there to ensure that they aren't caught up in conflicts of interest or accountability issues or things like that. Okay, fair enough. But if that's what you're going to do, then that $104,000 severance package should be conditional on you getting caught exactly 0 times in conflict of interest acts violations. Not twice like Trudeau, not the entire litany of other people. Fisheries alone had multiple conflict of interest acts convictions. Mary Ng had Amanda Alvaro with that $40,000 conflict of interest act over getting her friend to do media training. You had SNC Lavalin, Agacon.
We're on Mashup 159.
Everybody,
Every
there's
week
150. There's 158 mashups worth of reasons why, if that was what that severance package meant, he should not get it one fucking bit.
Sask man receives longest sentence for child sex crimes in province's history. Richard Dyke, 48, pleaded guilty earlier this month to 3 counts of sexual interference, 6 counts of creating child pornography, and 1 count of publishing an intimate image without consent, according to court documents. Dyke was sentenced for those charges inside a Moose Jaw courtroom on Wednesday. He was credited with 815 days served on remand, meaning he will spend an additional 14 years and 17 months behind bars. Police identified the victims as 3 boys under the age of 12. However, 33 victims in total have been identified since, 32 of which were children as young as 18 months old and up to 17 years of age. In addition to home daycare operating out of Dyke's residence in Assiniboine, he also attended additional daycares in Coronach, Swift Current, and Assiniboine. The communities of Tisdale, Estevan, and Gravelburg were also said to be affected, according to RCMP. And it's not a, yeah.
So 60 charges total, 33 victims identified. Okay, so granted, this is just what they can pin on him, but 60 charges over 33 children as young as 18 months, and he got 17 years in prison. That's not even, that's 6 months per victim.
That we know about.
6 months per victim. And this is the longest sentence ever. This is insane. This is a slap on the wrist. As far as I'm concerned, your prison sentence should roughly match the degree to which the crime was committed. Now, if you could make an argument that whatever it was that he did, which is totally not the case here, but if he'd done something completely different, where, it kind of just messed somebody's life up for 6 months. Okay. Well, then if he did it 33 times, sure, 17 years. But this should be 33 consecutive life sentences.
Yeah. When adults messing with kids is like, I don't even have the words to it. Just I'm like, hey, I'm happy they threw the book at him, but to your point,
But
it's
it's
like,
a small fucking book.
well, to your point, it's like he should just never get out. Or, like, I'm not a proponent of the death penalty on most cases, but like this is just like, come on. Like his wife ran a daycare and he abused every kid that went in there, roughly.
Yeah.
Not to
So
mention other places and everything else.
a guillotine, but not for your head. How about that?
Conservative MP Jamil Javani has launched a petition to end the temporary foreign worker program. The petition says the temporary foreign worker program is a large contributor to an unsustainable level of immigration and claims the program is taking jobs away from Canadians and suppressing wages.
Where was that during the election? That's a pretty common sense solution. Okay. We have several problems in Canada. Basically everything. Everything right now is a problem. One of those is housing prices have skyrocketed due to unchecked immigration, unemployment, youth unemployment, and stagnant wages. So with one simple, just get rid of the temporary foreign worker program and boom, you are taking a significant hit towards three major problems in this country at once. It's easy, it's simple, and believe it or not, the solution is getting rid of government programs. This checks every box for every person in this country except for Ottawa fucking bureaucrats.
Disgraced former Calgary City Councillor Joe, how do you say his last name too? Is it Maglioka? Maglioka apologized Thursday for filing false expense claims that led to his fraud commission. He said, "I'm very sorry that these were submitted. I apologize to the citizens of Calgary who I was honored to serve for 8 years. I'm sorry if I've caused them to lose trust in public service. I did not set out to mislead or hurt anyone." He sought out individuals.
He literally did.
He sought out individuals at trade fairs he attended. You may recall this from a mashup earlier. In his role as council member, so he could get business cards and include them in expenses, he later claimed. He filed 19 separate expense claims in which he included the names of other politicians who attended conferences. Those individuals later denied attending meals or other functions in which former Ward 2 council members claimed he bought food and drink. Here's just a image, the 5 days in Quebec. Yeah, Quebec City. This shows his expenses and compared to every other person who went.
Doesn't it seem suspicious? See, that's the thing nobody really seems to get. Graphs are supposed to have smooth lines to them. They're supposed to have some nice curves, like an attractive lady's waist, okay? And hips and whatnot, all right? When there is a giant jarring bump here to there or wherever else, there's something fucky going on. There's something weird. There's something suspicious. When you look at how much median income in this country, and as you go east to west, it's just nothing. And you're like, well, what's the thread of commonality? Well, it's a culture and it's a lot less red tape, and it's a completely different approach to everything to do with Confederation. Maybe we should look into that a little bit. Maybe the people are onto something. And this is that. So just when you're looking at graphs and there are jarring breaks in it, you got to ask yourself why they're there.
Here's the Alberta independence model. 39.74% want to leave. 60.26% it says want to remain. You can see the colors and where they're at.
Now, the really interesting thing for those of you listening is that it's going roughly exactly the way you would expect. Red Deer, GP. Well, actually, I wasn't expecting GP to be in there. But Red Deer, GP, Lethbridge, Edmonton, Calgary, all solid yellow. And everywhere outside of there, blue. Roughly speaking. There's a couple outliers. Edmonton's got a pretty big surrounding area. And then, of course, the Canmore Banff area is voting to stay as well. But for those of you who want Alberta independence, I get it. You're going to bring in speakers that your people love. You're going to make the arguments that resonate with your people. You're going to talk about the things that matter to cattle farmers and rig workers and welders and electricians. But those aren't the people you need to convince. They're already on your side. You're not winning anybody over by preaching to that choir. You are solidifying them, but nobody really goes back. Once someone becomes a separatist, they really don't go back to being like, oh, actually, you know what? I do enjoy sending a shit ton of money to Ottawa. I don't know what I was thinking before. These yellow parts, which are the cities, they're the people you need to win over. You need to convince them that it is far more economically viable for them and the future livelihood of their families to be involved in an independent Alberta than tied to a sinking fucking ship that is Ottawa. Those are the arguments you need to make, and you need to have people who are going to speak to that, because those are the people you've got to win at least some of them over. And it's great to preach to the choir, but if that's all you're doing, you're not winning. And that's it.
Well, then I assume you want to go to the goofy, which is here's a tweet.
Oh, yeah, that one's interesting. Can you read that out?
Here's Astrid. This is Astrid. She says, "Sorry, Edmonton, but the crowd in Dallas is full of ridiculously hot women. While every time the camera pans Rogers Arena, it looks like a live look at the hippo tank at the zoo."
At the zoo. What an interesting take on things. How have things been going in the hippo tank, Sean?
We lost game 1 in the conference finals. How's the golf links for the Calgary Flames doing? How's that doing?
I mean, it was great until a bunch of fucking Leafs showed up.
Sorry. Poor old Leafs. They can't.
And then just to leave on that note.
Oh, man.
6-1 in game 7. Oh, yeah, we're going to make a comeback. We're going to make a comeback. It's going to be awesome. And then, boom, out of nowhere, the thing everybody saw coming. I haven't seen anybody get crushed that badly in hockey since Johnny Gaudreau.
Sticking with the goofy news, should you be mouth taping? What's driving the viral trend? Mouth taping, the practice of sealing the lips shut during sleep to encourage nasal breathing, has gained traction online, promoted as a helpful solution for snoring, dry mouth, and poor sleep. But medical experts warn the practice may be ineffective at best and potentially risky for those with undiagnosed sleep disorders. 80% of the papers published did not show any benefit to this practice. 20% did show a slight benefit, likely statistically beneficial, but not really clinically beneficial. And then they emphasized that one person's success doesn't necessarily mean the method is safe or effective for everyone.
Well, I mean, it's weird to see somebody saying that something is not safe and effective for everyone. So that's an interesting update in terms of the medical world. But this whole taping your mouth shut thing, it's all these girls on Instagram and TikTok talking about how they want to tape their mouths shut. If I put my tinfoil hat on for a minute, this whole thing was started by a bunch of husbands.
I did not see you going there. 2 people facing charges following bestiality investigation in Kingston, Ontario. Quoted, the material depicted various sexual acts involving the co-accused dog, ultimately leading to the identification of 2 suspects. Police said in a statement Tuesday morning, a 32-year-old man and a 25-year-old woman have jointly been charged with bestiality and injuring an animal. Police said the man was already facing charges of possession for the purpose of trafficking and proceeds of crime.
Yes. So, I mean, we were talking about this before with the difference between Eastern and Western Canada. And this is it's rearing its ugly head in this too. Ontario got $500 million in equalization this year. At what point are we going to say that you guys need to quit fucking the dog?
All right. All right. Anyway, yeah. Here's a tweet. Unbelievable heat anomaly unfolding across China. Vast regions up to 16 degrees Celsius above normal for this time of year. The climate crisis isn't future tense. It's now. Urgent action is needed. 2050 targets are too late. This is the scary weather color of the week.
Now, the interesting thing is that if you look closely at that map, most of it's centered around Mongolia, not China. So, these people are idiots. But also, what has China been doing more than any other country for the past several years? Actually, that's really broad. Like inventing new viruses, stealing intellectual property. One of the things that they have been doing more than anybody else in the past several years is industrializing with carbon or with coal. There's like a new coal plant built every single day in China. And now there's this giant weather anomaly that's so bad that they had to go into shades of white and black to show how incredibly hot it is. And I'm left wondering, Sean,
What colors do
what
they
if
have
they
left?
were right?
Oh,
What if they were right?
I
mean-
thought for sure. I thought for sure. You remember when we first started this? You're like, what new color they're going to use? Purple.
And then
They're gonna
every
use
week there was a new color.
new color.
Yes, because red wasn't hot enough anymore. Red wasn't scary enough. People were being habituated. We had a great time last summer covering this and all the different arsonists. But the thing about it is that the country that made a shit ton of coal plants in the last several years is now having a ridiculous heat wave. And I'm wondering if maybe we're going to be on the wrong side of history, Sean.
Maybe.
Now, I mean, the only thing we could really do is that makes sense. I think we need to send them natural gas.
No, there's no case for that too.
The
No case for
EU
natural.
reclassified it last year as a green energy. We can send them a green energy. And we know it's a green energy because a bunch of unelected bureaucrats in fucking Belgium decided that it was a green energy.
Primary school evacuated after student brings in a grenade for show and tell.
For show and tell. Yep.
A primary school in Derbyshire has had to be evacuated after a student brought a grenade in for a Second World War show and tell assembly. Head teacher Jeanette Hart told the BBC she said she was unsure if the device was live, so she took it from a boy and slowly placed it behind a substantial tree in the car park as the school was cleared and emergency services were called. When they did actually scan and everything, it was there was nothing to worry about, but a grenade brought in by
dismantled. The functioning bits of it had been taken out, like what we should be doing with sex offenders. And so he was just showing like a grenade casing. But I mean, just imagine this, like, just, imagine Mrs. Newman doing some school function where everybody's in the gym and everybody's doing show and tell. And what do you have today, Timmy? And then Timmy pulls out a fucking grenade. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great.
Provinces should cover weight loss drugs for people with pre-existing cardiovascular disease, says drug agency.
Go figure. The drug agency says they want more drugs.
Kevin says, where does Jim Sinclair's kid go to school? I wonder what Jim would say to that. His son takes it and anyways.
Yeah. Be like, why did you only bring one?
Provincial governments should pay for the weight loss drug Wegovy for people who are overweight and have survived a heart attack or stroke, according to a new report from the organization that advises Canadian public drug plans on which new medications to cover. This is a huge landmark moment in what we're looking at obesity in a much more holistic sense. Canadian Drug Agency estimates covering of Wegovy for overweight patients with pre-existing cardiovascular disease would cost the public purse approximately $600 million over 3 years, but the tab could run as high as $3.5 billion, depending on uptake.
Okay, so first off, it's called Wegovy.
Yeah, whatever.
I think they should
It
change
doesn't
it.
matter.
They should change it, Sean, to We Lazy.
Okay, I get where
Okay?
you're going with it. Yes.
And also, uh Shane gets his teams trying to get a hold of me about the community notes. And he didn't mention to them that when we're doing the plug for a show, they shouldn't be calling. Anyway, they want to institute it for anybody with a BMI above 27. 27 is crazy. So here is, if you weigh 200 pounds and you are any less than 6 feet tall, this would give you free, basically, I'm guessing like wish.com Ozempic kind of thing. Like, this isn't much at all. Like, according to this, I'm obese, despite the fact that the only place where I'm huge is like with the guns. Because all they're looking at is biomass index. How tall are you and how much do you turn the dial on this scale? That's it. And that's the determining factor for this. This is a health agency in 2025 who is using stuff that was outdated in the 90s. This is totally what I would expect from this government. If you want to make people healthier, if you want to get the government involved in making people healthier,
Bugs?
you start giving out fucking gym passes.
Eat bugs? Beyond Meat?
What do you think Tanner Applegate would say about the idea of him being sponsored by the Liberals? Like if Mark Carney shows up at his gym and says, "Hi, I would like to buy 100 monthly passes, please."
I can imagine
conversation.
the response is yes. New $1,000 fines for small rental bedrooms and occupancy limits introduced in Brampton. The new costly penalties are part of updates to Brampton's property standards and non-parking fine by bylaws aimed at reducing what the city calls cases of overcrowding and excessive subletting across the city. The new rules set limits of 14 square meters, around 150 square feet, for rooms that will have 3 occupants, and 7 square meters, approximately 5 square feet per person, where the room is provided for 4 or more occupants. Yeah.
Let's just point out the fact that our legacy media is a bunch of fucking idiots. They're saying that for 4 or more occupants, you need to have at least 5 square feet per person. So 2 by 2.5, according to this article. Now that's not 7 square meters. You're completely out to lunch. These people are dumb. They don't even proofread. Is there no fucking editor in the Brampton Saga?
There probably isn't. Listen to Chris Sims talk about it. Listen to Holly Doan and the Blackhawks team talk about it.
But you'd think you'd at least like hand it over to somebody across and just be like, dude, can you just proofread this for a second? Or plug it into Grok and say, Grok, can you proofread this and let me know if I did anything fucking retarded? And he's going to say, yes, you did. You should probably get a different job in a different area. But here's the thing is, this is just patching a problem with another problem. If I own my damn house and I want to sublet it 5 square feet at a time, I should be able to do that. Okay. Who the fuck is the government? We want the government to get out of our bedrooms, right? Right? Isn't that what we used to say? You can love whoever you love. We're going to have gay marriage. We're going to get the government out of our bedrooms. This is literally the government getting back into everybody's bedrooms and saying they're required to be a certain size. Do we want them out of our bedrooms or not?
Johns Creek teen cashes over $545,000 in fake checks to pay lawyer in separate fraud case. He cashed 5 checks of $100,000 or more to pay for the lawyer for another fraud case. Got caught.
Yeah. So
Columbus.
He got caught doing fraud, and so he needed to pay his lawyer $500,000. And so he just whipped up a bunch of fake checks, cashed them, and used that to pay his lawyer. We, by the way, have quite a lot of goofy news this week. Everything in this country is silly. Everything in this world is silly.
Well, let's go to North Korea. Kim Jong-un reportedly watched his brand new 5,000-ton warship topple over right in front of him during a failed launch into the water. I'll pull up the... Yeah, okay, you're going to show the... There you go.
Yes. So North Korea, well known for their manufacturing and defense capabilities and all that stuff. Remember when everybody was scared as hell that North Korea was developing intercontinental ballistic missiles? And then when they did the test firing, they basically just went bloop. Yeah, well, these people thought that it would be good for them to unveil a new destroyer. And destroy is exactly what happened. This thing, just, that classic, like just casting it off the moorings in the dry dock. And it tipped the whole thing over. And now apparently a whole bunch of people are going to get killed for fucking it up.
Correct. And there's a picture of it laid over and then putting tarps over it to try and cover it up from satellite images.
Yeah. We can't. Isn't it? Does anybody else think it's suspicious that North Korea has tarps big enough to cover a fucking destroyer? What else, if you were to look at Google Maps of North Korea, how many other giant blue tarped areas are there?
Going from one military to another, stocks on new Canadian Ranger rifles are cracking and need to be replaced. Stocks on the new rifles issued to Canadian Rangers for use in the far north are cracking and have to be replaced because they can't withstand excessive moisture. In addition, the lamination on the C-19 rifle wood stocks are peeling off. The Department of National Defense acknowledged 156 of the rifles were initially deemed as unusable, but the majority of guns are still being used despite the problems, according to the DND. The Canadian Forces ordered more than 6,800 of the rifles from Colt Canada in Kitchener. When deliveries beginning in March 2018, the contract was for $32.8 million. And based on the initial C-19 Ranger rifle procurement, the performance requirements were met. This current issue with the C-19... This is
the sleeping bags all over again.
It became apparent after, and therefore the D&D intends to cover the cost of the rifle replacements. So they got them. They worked for a very brief time. Then they started to fall apart. And now we're going to wait 3 years while the taxpayer covers the bill to cover the cost of the new stocks. And it's going to take 3 years to get them to be phased in.
Which is insane. It shouldn't be that hard. It should not be that hard at all. Profit River. You could go to Profit River and just order a bunch of new stocks. The crazy thing, though, is that you think like, okay, well, maybe there's just issues with whatever the conditions are in the extreme Arctic, and you can't use a laminate wood stock. Okay, fair enough. But these are replacing Enfields. They're replacing 303s. I have one. I should have brought it up here. But a 303 is this big, weighty bastard. Bolt action, 10-shot clip. And, well, magazine. Sorry, guys. If we're talking about military stuff, it's important to be precise. And they've been using it since the 40s with this giant, heavy-ass wooden stock. And those things are great. Slow bullet. You can't really... It's tough to catch anything moving. But it's great, it's reliable, and it's accurate, and it's wood. It's wood. So why the hell could 80 years ago they make a wood stock that could stand up to 80 years of the fucking Arctic, and now you're bringing in this lighter wood stock that's just falling apart like a fucking North Korean battleship?
Ditch the beef. Keep the grill. Why Beyond Meat owns Memorial Day 2025. The newly reformulated Beyond Burger and Beyond Beef are packed with 21 grams of plant protein, made with hearty, healthy avocado oil and clocking in just 2 grams of saturated fat per serving. The best part, they taste like burgers you grew up grilling, juicy, satisfying, and begging for a slather of barbecue sauce.
I have doubts.
You think?
New York Post may be compensated and or receive an affiliate commission if you click or buy through our links. Featured pricing is subject to change. Why do people distrust the mainstream media, Sean?
I wonder why. Oh, man. Quebec to impose French language quotas on streaming giants. Quebec Culture Minister Matthew Lacombe tabled a bill today that would force streaming giants to add French language content and make it more easily accessible to users. Bill 109 has been in the works for over a year. It marks the first time that Quebec would set a visible quota for French language content on major streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney, Spotify, and a financial penalty would be imposed on companies that don't follow the rules.
I mean, that just makes it easy. You're not going to have anything available in fucking Quebec. That's it. Because Netflix is going to say, well, I mean, if we have this in Quebec, we're going to get fined. Okay. Well, how much money do we make in Quebec? I don't know, $70 million. Okay. And what's it going to cost to have enough content to be compliant with it? $80 million. Okay, we're not going to do it. It's just simple math. It's simple math, and that's the problem with government, is that when they are presented with simple math, they look at it like it's fucking Sanskrit. Do you want stuff with some, or do you want nothing?
Activists unfurl trans pride flag on a Yosemite cliff.
Yes.
A group of transgender and LGBTQ plus activists climbed on the iconic cliff face in Yosemite National Park to celebrate trans identity and make a stand against anti-trans hate. Led by the popular drag queen environmentalist Patty Gawney, the group climbed El Capitan with a giant pastel pink, sky blue, and white transgender pride flag and displayed it across the cliff face early Tuesday morning.
Yes. Now, some carry hate. Oh, actually, sorry. I should actually try and speak this as accurately as possible, given the context of who it is that's speaking. Some carry hate. We carry the largest trans pride flag ever to be flown in a national park and unfurled it on the side of El Cap to prove a point that trans is natural. You can tell from the picture, this dude has very natural hair, very natural fingernail polish, very natural fucking makeup shotgun face done-ups. Yes. I look at that picture, and I think, wow, that is probably the most natural human being I have ever seen in my life. Maybe it's Maybelline.
11 inmates escaped a New Orleans jail on Friday. And Tanner's telling us this is probably not that funny. I'm just laughing at the
hilarious.
Picture. If you look
The
at the
picture is what does it.
They ripped out the toilet and then they drew too easy.
Yeah. So for those of you who haven't seen Shawshank Redemption yet, stop this and go watch it right now and think about your life choices up to this point. But instead of having an innocuous poster that gets pulled back at the end, they just left the toilet seat off to the side and drew a bunch of graffiti mocking the guards as they made their escape.
Correct.
I love it.
And they ended up on Bourbon Street. The prison was 2 miles from Bourbon Street. They caught the one guy on Bourbon Street, and Tanner's still at large. This has probably changed since then, but that was the news story.
Although, you know what? It probably is. It probably makes a lot of sense to have a prison that close to Bourbon Street in New Orleans, because what's going to happen is they're going to say, I've been stuck in this hellhole drinking toilet wine for the past 17 years. The first thing I'm going to do when I get out is I'm going to go to a bar with a pretty waitress and I'm going to have a beer. And so all you got to do is just, anytime that siren goes off, the woo, 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 people are escaping. You don't even need to worry about sending the blue tick hounds after them. They don't got to go chasing them through swamps. You just got to sit down at the bar,
And wait for
order
them
a
to roll
drink,
in.
and they're going to walk in. They're going to show up.
Would-be murderer's plot to kill his rival consisted of 1 grand, some pigs, a nun, and a bottle of bourbon.
Yes. So this was this guy's attempting to hire a hitman
Mm-hmm.
and negotiating the upfront fee to have, lesser cash implications and throwing in a really nice bottle of bourbon, which is a bit of a contradiction. And they were having trouble tracking down a van, so they'd actually lined up the logistics of renting the van from a nun, and they were going to go Picton with the body.
Yes, and they were gonna the undercover cop who was looking like the farmer said, "I need a little addition to the $1,000," and he said, "Well, I could get you some booze," and he said, "A nice bottle of bourbon would do," and so they showed up with a bottle of bourbon. Yeah,
And then got arrested.
yeah. Ebby, I guess we could go to the Ebby photo op in front of a subdivision of shed homes on Vancouver Island. I was wondering if I had it. Yeah, I do have it. Yeah, I'll pull it up here. Okay, so this is Premier Ebby standing in front of all these brand new homes. Brand new homes.
No, that's the wrong picture.
Is that the wrong picture?
Yeah, here. Sorry, it's my bad. Here, just hang on a sec here. I got it here. I'll bring it up. We're literally using plot points from a 20-year-old show about boys in a trailer park to determine our national housing strategy. For those of you listening and not watching, this is a picture of Ricky and Bubbles in front of Bubbles' shed, which 20 years ago was hilarious. The idea that someone would just live in a shed in somebody else's backyard and have nothing but kitties. Well, now in present day Canada, that kind of seems like a nice place.
Correct. Yes.
We're literally living in fucking trailer park, boys. They're building the next generation's housing out of sheds and fucking shipping containers. Did I lose you?
You froze up on me. I don't know. Is that me? Oh, there you are. There you are.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So anyway, that's the secret of life. But back to this whole thing about the shipping containers, and yeah, like we're building things out of sheds and shipping containers. This is where the next generation is going to live.
It's funny, when I was looking at a new like different ideas for a studio, I looked at shipping containers because there's some really cool ideas there. I'm not saying that's what I want my primary residence to be, but they have there's some really cool ideas with shipping containers.
There are, and you take a 2 or 3 or 4 and you stack them in different ways.
Yeah,
but just put an entire family in one of them, and well, here's the problem is that this is the bureaucracy. These are the politicians. This is how they think. They say, well, you know what, Thomas? I mean, this is how they arrived in this country. I think they really like living in shipping containers. This is our housing strategy in this country, Sean.
Some happy
trailer park boys and human smuggling.
Some happy news. Medical organizations and media let Canadians believe gender medicine is safe and universally accepted. It's not. 14 physicians author statement for inside policy.
This is in Canada. In Canada, you had 14 doctors sign off on the fact that so-called gender-affirming care is not a good thing to do to children. That takes some big balls.
It does. No woke employees writes Quebec City bar in job ad. Eyebrows are being raised after a Quebec City bar published a controversial job ad on social media stating that it was looking for a barmaid who was not woke, pro-liberal, pro-CAQ, or in favor of the health measures in place during the COVID-19 pandemic. Quoted, "I'm going to be very clear on my position," reads the Facebook post for Le Bar Sport La Vegas on Santa Anne Boulevard in the Lemolier district. "I don't want someone who during the pandemic would have called the police if their neighbors had visitors. I wonder if the sales in this place have just skyrocketed.
I would absolutely love to go to this place and have a few beers. I love this part because he's just absolutely unapologetic about it. When reached by telephone by Nouveau Info, the bar owner insisted that he should have the right to cherry pick his employees. You mean choose which employees he hires? Yes. He says, here's the quote: "We're not in the 1960s and 1970s anymore. People used to hide, but I'm not hiding. Don't I have the right?" It's his fucking bar. He should have the right to hire who he wants to hire.
I agree.
Well, I mean, it's a bar.
Road trip to Quebec.
Do you want?
Can you imagine? We take like a 50-hour drive or whatever it is to get to this place, and just to sit down, say, "Man, appreciate what you're doing." Order a round for the bar, and then just
leave.
back.
Yeah. 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 Hey, this has been really nice. Thank you guys very much.
Yes.
Okay, we gotta head back home now. No, this is wonderful. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like, you think about it. What kind of waitresses do you want at a bar that you want to do well?
I can do their job well, right? Like, but then there's a whole bunch of different things in there that add into that. But like the best restaurants have good service.
What other things are there, Sean, that add into picking out waitresses for a bar that you want to do well?
Attractive helps.
Attractive. There you go. Was that so hard?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. You want
but
some
in fairness,
beautiful woman. You want a beautiful woman working there because more people are going to want to go. Okay. And so you want somebody who's probably conservative, because we talked about this. There's multiple studies. They're the hot ones. You do not want somebody with blue hair, intentionally unfashionable eyeglasses, who's on a fucking steady diet of Wegovy and gravy.
You want somebody who does their job well, right?
No, you want somebody who's conscientious. You want somebody who cares, somebody who's capable of talking to people.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not even just, this would make sense. It makes sense in him saying, I want to work with people who politically align with me. But it also makes sense in terms of, I have put my life savings into this business. I want to hire the best people to help make it successful. And to Glenn's point, this is very accurate. He likes waitresses with less dicks.
The West Coast chiming in. The UK will roll out chemical castration for sex offenders. Do I need to say anymore?
I mean, the castration part's good. I wish it was physical rather than chemical. But, it's funny because the chemical castration uses the same stuff that the gender-affirming care does. Okay, so we're going to give it to sex offenders, and this will chemically castrate them. But if we give it to teenagers,
it's safe and
effective. Totally fine. Totally fine, safe and effective, no repercussions, and totally reversible.
All American Rejects are ditching arenas for backyards. They're doing a house party tour sign up on their Instagram, and they might show up. Oh, sorry. House party tour. If you sign up on their Instagram, they might show up and throw a show in your city. 2005 is back, reads the tweet, but you can show it. Yeah, show the video.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about this real quick. I always found it astounding that, well, I mean, I get it from a financial standpoint, but once you reach a certain level of success as a musician, you don't really need the money anymore. Sure, it's great to sell out stadiums, and it's awesome to do that, but why don't they just get a few of the band, like just get the band together with a few low-key instruments and go to some like hole in the wall. Just go to them and be like, hey, we're Garth Brooks. And I get the Garth Brooks as a person. Just go with this. Hey, I'm Garth Brooks. You may remember me from like 50 songs from the 80s and 90s. Can I just go up there and play a quick set? And it doesn't matter what bar you are. You can walk into a punk bar and they'd be like, guys, we just got to shut everything down for a minute because Garth Brooks wants to pluck. That's how that goes. And I never understood, because that would be so much more fun than doing a stadium. And why don't they do it more often? And here's the All-American Rejects just showing up and doing random backyard concerts.
Yeah, it's
and we got the loading screen, so whatever. You
it
guys
doesn't
know
matter.
who's
You get the
going there.
point. It's super cool, like that they're just going back to their roots, right? Probably how they started, to be honest, right? Like yeah, I agree with you. Super cool to see different famous acts. Have a
I
little
think
bit of
that's
fun with
awesome.
it.
I want to see more of that. I want to see more of the people who are just like, hey, you know, we've had a great career. We made a lot of money. We don't need to make as much damn money as we can every single time we get on a stage. And it would be a hell of a lot more fun, regardless, for us to do a backyard concert.
Years ago, when Dustin and Harley and I lived in a house together, it was Dustin's best friend
Your
was in a
parents'
band.
house?
No, they bought a house. Anyways, they jackass.
Yeah, when you guys were 6. Yeah, I get it.
There was a band that they were good friends with that played in Lloyd. An after party, they brought the band and they all set up in like the living room and like played a concert in the house. And like it was super cool. Like it was just
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of those memories you have, like, you know, and were they this giant band? No, but it was super cool to have a band like rock it out in your house. It was like, this is friggin' cool, right? So
One of the coolest stories I have ever heard was I went on a few dates with this girl like a million years ago, and she had been traveling in Asia, and she was in Singapore, and her friends were just at a bar having a couple drinks. And so, you know, of course, there's a few pretty ladies at the bar. Some random guys show up, and they're like, "Hey, we're going to be doing a show tonight. Do you want to come check it out?" And they're like, "Okay, sure, whatever. Sounds cool." And so they go to some random parking lot in Singapore, and these guys open up. They were DJs. They open up. The second act is Jurassic 5, and the headliners were the Beastie Boys
no kidding.
in a random ass parking lot in Singapore.
How sweet would it be to see the Beastie Boys? Man, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
And J5?
Yeah,
Come on.
but I know, but Beastie Boys got this like special place in my heart from years gone by. Right?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Any other happy news twos? Are we on to community notes? I feel
We're
like
on community notes.
This
Wait.
what is
Was there
This-
another one? No.
this
Oh,
is-
we got yeah. That's it for
this is like shocking. I feel like, you know, hour 7 in. I'm like, twos is normally we have like 8 I've missed. Sean was on top of it this week, folks. He wasn't letting twos fool him, sneaking a few headlines in there, and I saw that he did that.
I wasn't sneaking them in.
Oh, sure.
It's not. It's.
Sure.
I'm not
Sure.
looking at things in chronological order. I'm looking at things in order of when they get bookmarked, and I'm like, oh, this fits up here. Okay, I saw this.
Yep.
I bookmark things as I see them, and then they come out and get put into a semblance of order. So if you've already moved past it, that's on you.
Lie to
All
your
right.
friends twos, not me. Okay.
Sounds good. You have fun with your other best friend at your new fucking clubhouse.
Community notes. Shane Getson, he's got his golf tournament. Is that what
Yeah.
2025 golf tournament, June 6th. You can get tickets at showpass.com/LSAPCA 2025 golf. They should have just made it. They should have made it showpass.com/Getson. You know, like, hey, this is just me playing Friday morning quarterback. But either way,
Fair enough. So for those of you interested, yes, June 6th, Friday all day. So we've got Mashup, but you guys could go. Or maybe we could try and do it from there. You think we could do a Mashup from the clubhouse?
June 6th. It's possible. It's possible.
I don't know. Something to think about. I just don't get too excited about it, everybody. This is literally just coming to my mind as I'm saying it. But it is at the Cougar Creek Golf Resort, which is in Carvel.
There you go. So if you're feeling the itch to swing the clubs, Shane Getson, June 6th, tournament coming up.
Jane Getson, longtime fan of the show, friend of the show. He's been to multiple live events, and you know it's interesting. He's, as much as I have an absolute love-hate relationship with the UCP, he's one of those guys who just, you're like, I got a lot of love for him anyway. Although he should have told his people who were probably wanting to talk to me about this, because I talked to him briefly last night about this. And I was like, yeah, you could just pass on my info to them. And so they texted me as we were going live, and then they called again. And I'm like, the one thing you people know about me or should know about me is that
You people?
Fridays at 10,
You people?
I'm doing this.
You people. All right.
And so anyway, I just kind of laughed.
Any
had
other
a
community
chuckle.
notes out there, twos?
None that I know of. Oh, Zane says we have
Ooh,
Battle of the
yeah.
Tex engine race at Drumheller. If anyone is in the area, drop by.
Zane, I want to come
say hello.
see this, but kids on the weekend is difficult, but I would love to
Yeah.
come see this. You got to send us, he probably does, but Zane, I'm going to prompt you again. You should send out, if it's like 2 months out, because I could put it in the calendar. I'd love to bring the kids to see it. I would love to just come see it because he's sent me videos of this. I would love to come see it in person.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, it's not that far away from me, but again, when you find out the day before, it gets tough.
Michelle, Rebel News has a Western separation discussion in Regina on June 2nd. It says it's 60% sold out at the moment. Michelle, who do they have coming to Regina? Would you know the speakers that Rebel News has coming to their? I could probably Google it too.
All right. Oh, quick pull my finger says she sounds hot. LOL. I'm guessing he was talking about that girl's voice I did when I was telling the story. Yeah, and Earl says take the kids to Drum. They have an amazing dinosaur museum. They absolutely do. And here's the thing is you kind of got to get in early because they turn people away if you don't show up early enough in the day in the summer, because Drum gets really nice summers. And so the place is just packed. And so you'll circle the parking lot for a while, find a place to park, and then you'll show up and say, hey, I'm wondering if we could. And they say, nope, try again tomorrow. But there is a ton of other cool stuff in that town, including just a little bit back the road you came down. There's another very cool museum that has a whole thing about the convoy too. Or, well, not a whole thing about the convoy, but they've got this thing about antique tow trucks, and they've got them all set up like convoy trucks.
Yeah, gotcha. And Michelle says they haven't announced who the speakers are yet. Is it June 2nd is only like 2 weeks away, right? Less than 2 weeks away? I guess it's coming up real fast. Well, I guess
well, so is separation. This whole thing is coming at us all real fast.
Twos. Mashup 159 in the books. Like,
yeah,
that kind of came and went. Folks, we appreciate you hopping in on a Friday morning with us. Twos, any final thoughts before we get the heck out of here?
Thanks very much. I wonder if we should do something in Edmonton about separation.
Like a show?
Yeah, something. I don't know. Everybody wants to go to the small towns and stuff like that. And I get the fact that Regina is probably a good place to have that. Hearkening to what I was saying about the fact that you need to capture the interest, attention, and
there was two protesters in Lloyd last night, and I was talking.
What were they
to Dustin.
protesting?
They were, well, I guess not protesters. I call them protesters. Two people that were against separation, and
okay,
they were just concerned citizens, shall we say, that were worried. One I overheard saying, what are you going to do if you leave? Are you going to, hang me type thing? I was like, hang you? Why would you get that thought process? But it kind of left me thinking, I wonder if I should bring on people who are against separation with somebody who's pro-separation on the podcast and let them kind of discuss.
I can be that guy.
Sure. Twos might be not, but yeah, I just, a reasonable conversation. They can rattle off all their concerns. I'd be,
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm not a statesman, but I think one of the good things I bring to the table is that I'm quite capable of just having regular conversations.
Yeah. Well, folks, Mashup 159, as you know, we're here every Friday morning, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We appreciate you hopping in for 159. Next week, we hit the 160, and we look forward to that. Look forward to having you back. Please share away and let others know about the show. Either way, we'll catch up to you next week. Twos, as always, we'll catch up to you next week. Thanks again, folks.
Sounds good. Thanks very much.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map, I stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the mashup.